Hello and welcome to Culture Shock, the pop culture podcast brought to you by four aging millennials and our outdated opinions. I'm your host Doug, and with me as always is...
Hey, I'm Adrian, and I'm feeling a little woozy here.
My name is Corey, and I want to play a game.
And you may have noticed that silence. Unfortunately, Mike couldn't be with us yet again this week, so we bring you another three-man special. Well, fall is in the air, and I think it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare. With our first topic tonight, we're gonna, if you didn't catch on, it's Halloween, so I think you can figure out what we're talking about. We'll start things off with what we consider our timeless classics, the ones we're gonna watch every year around this time. Adrian, why don't you start us off with yours? I don't know which of you is actually the bigger horror fan, so I'm just jumping to you.
Yeah, it's definitely a fair question. So, I mean... Man, there's so many ones that are so obvious, but obviously, my first quote of the night was a Scream quote. This holds up as just one of my favorite horror movies in general to this day. I have a few on my list of comedy horrors, but to me, this kind of started that whole genre for me. And when you can blend just two of my favorite things, that is just almost a perfect movie to me. And this first Scream movie is just, for anybody who hasn't seen it, it is just like the perfect movie in my eyes. So my first one would be Scream.
I mean, especially if you grew up in the 90s. Anybody can appreciate the Scream movie, but there's a lot of 90s to that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was an age of, it was somewhat of a resurgence of horror movies. I think we talked about this prior, but we were getting the Halloween 20 years later, H2O, and you had The Faculty, and you had For Better or Worse, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and you were getting all these worse, but you were getting all these types of movies where they were really developing these characters, and they made you care about these teenagers, and Scream was just the best example of that with, I kind of lost it for a second there, Wes Anderson, right?
The Scream?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I lost my train of thought for a second. But Wes Anderson, even with his little cameo of Freddy Krueger there on the scene where Henry Winkler looks out in the hall and he sees the janitor called Fred, is with the red and green sweater.
I wish I'd seen Scream before, so this is me learning about it for the first time.
Yes.
You mentioned that you think they made you care more about the characters. What is it that they did differently that, say, the 80s slashers didn't do in that regard? Because I can't name one of the teenagers from any, Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, for example.
Yeah, that's fair. So as far as, the characters in the movie, a lot of the Friday the 13th, a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street, you were honestly just really waiting for the killer to make appearance. You were kind of just waiting for these people to die. I think they kind of gave each character some unique qualities about their character. The character played by Jamie Kennedy is this horror movie freak. And this movie is very self-aware.
Jamie Kennedy's in that?
Yeah, Jamie Kennedy.
Interesting.
He's one of the most popular characters from the movie. But he's very self-aware of horror movie tropes. And this movie literally makes fun of every slasher trope throughout it. I think what it does so well is these characters make fun of horror movies, and it just really makes you care about them. Sydney obviously has this whole backstory with her mother that I'm not going to get into, but she has this traumatic issue. And just the characters are a lot of fun. They actually have personality, unlike the old movies where you were just kind of waiting until they got killed.
Is that kind of what the 80s slashers evolved into, you think, then? Because it sounds like it's just a more serious take.
Do you mean do I think the 80s movies just kind of devolved into wanting to see all the characters die, or
80s movies kind of started as wanting to see all the characters die.
Yeah.
Then they evolved into what Scream was, which was character development and actually caring about anybody in the movies, other than the final girl in most movies that mostly we don't care about, other than Laurie Strode, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think and then they kind of devolved back to just killing everyone by the 2000s again.
From the way you described it, it sounded like just a serious take on the 80s slasher. So it was
it's almost within itself makes fun of 80s slashers. Like,
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of, without getting into super details about Scream, there's a lot of characters in that movie that love 80s slashers movies, and there's even a whole scene near the end where they're talking about how you never leave the room and you never be the one who says, I'll go get the beer, or whatever he says.
Right, I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. That's what it is.
Never go alone.
You never have sex. You never do drugs or drink alcohol. And all the teenagers, while Jamie Kenney's explaining these rules, they're all like, boo.
So within the movie of a 90s slasher, they're self-aware of 80s slashers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not like a different world. It's all in the same world. They're even watching, I don't know what movie they're watching in Scream.
Halloween.
Yeah, they're watching Halloween in Scream.
Because Jamie Kennedy's character says, turn around, Jamie. And he's talking about Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right.
But it's a fun little double meaning because he's Jamie Kennedy.
That's funny. Okay.
As the killer's right behind, Ghostface is right behind him. And he's like, turn around, Jamie.
Okay. That's pretty witty. That's pretty witty. I'll have to get that. I'll watch that soon.
Absolutely. That's a must watch for anybody.
Yes, Corey.
Adrian, you said Wes Anderson later. It's Wes Craven.
Fuck, that's what I was meaning.
Yeah, I just agreed with you and completely I agreed with you, and then I was like, wait a minute, that's not right.
Well, this is just a Scream episode, so
it could be.
Oh yeah, at this rate.
Yeah, like Adrian said, or like Doug said, actually, he's not sure which one of me or Adrian are more of a horror fan, but to be fair, that's really because we kind of grew up in the same household. Horror was pushed on us pretty hard, and it was one of the things pushed on us that we just dove right into, even as kids. I was 3 years old with my grandma watching Hotel Hell. Like, I was way too young to be watching that movie. my grandma didn't care. She's like, hey, let's watch a movie. What do you say? Your mom's not around. So we went ahead and watched that, and from then on, I fell in love with all horror, anything horror. My grandma would purposely go to the movie store. We already explained what that was. And she would rent all of the B-rated horror movies that came out. Nobody ever heard of any of the actors in them, and she would take them home and absolutely love them, and they all sucked. She loved movies. She ate it up. She loved it.
What is it? Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Puppet Master.
Puppet Master.
Puppet Master was the
I've
shit.
seen a couple movies like that myself.
So yeah, we started watching movies from like 3 years old. Corey, do you care to share what movie gave you your first nightmare?
It's probably not a horror movie.
I grew up watching all these horror, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Chucky even. None of them ever gave me a nightmare.
Horrified of Chucky as a kid.
None of them ever gave me a nightmare. I would go to bed right after watching them and wake up a cheery, happy kid. But one night, we went ahead and rented this movie called Ernest Scared Stupid.
I'll share my embarrassing first nightmare too.
Anybody who has ever seen that movie knows that it's just Ernest B. Waller being Ernest B. Waller, and it's not scary at all.
Okay, Jim.
But these little goblin things in the movie, they target children, and when they touch them, they turn into little wooden blocks, little wooden statues. That's all it is of the kid, and they're dead forever unless you kill the goblin that turned them into wood. And the only way to kill them is milk, pouring milk on them. So for a week after I saw that movie, I went to bed with a glass of milk next to my bed.
The old reverse gizmo.
No other movie ever gave me nightmares.
Okay, so for sharing embarrassing first nightmares, mine wasn't anything remotely horror related. When I would go to bed, I'd put I had like the TV, and fucking Rocky and Bullwinkle would come on, and the opening sequence would play, and the sun with the smile just haunted me. Like, I couldn't even look at it. I would cover my head when it played the intro
Moose
because it
and
just
Squirrel
scared me to death, and I don't know why.
Wow.
It was nightmare fuel.
That was kind of like the Teletubbies with the baby in the sky. The baby son.
Well, that's rightfully creepy.
That is very creepy.
Anybody who's scared of the baby laughing in the sun is correct.
I didn't even know of that thing's existence till I was much older.
Still creepy.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, back on topic. You mentioned comedy horror, so why don't I toss one out? Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, easily one of the best slasher movies ever.
This is a movie that I saw, like, I'd flip through Netflix and it'd be there, and I just saw it, and by the title alone, I was like, oh, that's gonna suck, and I just kept going. But one day, I was like, you know what? I have nothing better to do. And I just couldn't believe how good it was. It made fun of every trope that I've always like been agitated by in like horror movies. I was like in tears from laughing. Like when the kid jumped at him into the wood chipper and he just freaked. The kid ran so hard he impaled himself on a giant stick. It was just
running through the woods, yeah.
Whoever wrote that, genius.
I actually only found that movie because I rented a movie with Jason Sudeikis called Big Old Fashioned Orgy. It's literally about friends that always go to this summer house to drink, and it's going to be taken from them. So they decide their last big party, because they've done everything else, they're just going to get together and have an orgy. Anyway, the second guy in that is Dale.
Oh,
his name
really?
is Tyler Labine. The actor is Tyler Labine. And after that movie, I went on IMDb and I was like, well, I got to see what else this guy's in. And that's when I started watching Reaper, the show he was on for a couple seasons before it got canceled.
That was him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then I found Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and I like anything horror that sounds stupid. So if the exact reason you skipped it is why I watched it.
I just, in my head, I was like, that's just going to be one of those stupid, like, Sharknado dumpster rubber movies. Like, I was like, this is going to suck. But I was so wrong, and I was so happy to be wrong. I couldn't believe.
You were wrong about Sharknado, you mean?
Well, he was wrong about Sharknado 4. That's the best one.
Yeah.
Right. Those movies just get better with every sequel.
Well, it literally redefined what a movie could be. But that's for another day.
You're right. That's for the Sharknado cast.
Yeah, we're going to do a Sharknado episode. Don't worry about it.
Probably not, but maybe.
Some of Tara Reid's finest work since American Pie.
Did you just say some of Tara Reid's finest work?
You're right.
I didn't know she had that.
Oh, man.
Oh, my.
Going down that same road, I don't know if you guys will agree with me or not. I know you guys have a couple zombie movies that you'll probably talk about. Surprisingly, as much as I love zombies in like video games, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. Zombie movies don't necessarily do it for me. So my favorite zombie movies, also horror comedies, too, is Shaun of the Dead and Zombieland.
Those are good movies.
Both very good.
I'm pretty picky about zombie movies, but I do have an all-time favorite.
I am not picky about zombie movies. Shaun of the Dead is one of my favorite horror movies.
I love Shaun of the Dead. I love anything with Simon Pegg. But
that scene when they're in the alleyway and the dun 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 is one of my.
Red on you.
Oh, it's so good.
You have red on you.
It's just such a great joke. I don't.
Yeah, but both of those movies, I just remember. I remember maybe it was our cousin was the first one to see Zombieland, and he told me I have to go see this movie. And at the time, I didn't know how I felt about a zombie comedy movie because, like, I hadn't really seen much like that. But I was sold by the cast.
Oh yeah,
that's a movie I saw multiple times in theaters. I love how they incorporate the rules into it, and just I think every person was cast perfectly for what the character was.
Absolutely.
What's that guy's name? Not Michael Cera.
Jesse Eisenberg?
Yeah, the guy that looks like Michael Cera.
Not Michael Cera?
Not Michael Cera.
You mean Mark Zuckerberg?
Yes, all three of those.
You mean Adventureland?
Yeah.
That's his name in that movie, right?
No, hey. We can't bring up Ryan Reynolds when Mike isn't here.
Oh, God.
Damn it.
I didn't
edit that out.
I didn't do it.
Anyway, I hated him for a long time. I just didn't respect him, and so I put off a lot of his movies, and now I like end up loving like everything he's in, which almost annoys me. But
what was it about him that you didn't like initially?
It's the same reason I couldn't stand
like Michael Cera.
Yeah, like there's just
it's just like the way they are.
Is it because they were the nerd trope that you don't like?
No. It was
just like their mannerisms. Like, they're awkward.
Like this awkward mannerisms that just seem so. They're less of actor. Well, at least Michael Cera is less of an actor and more of a he just perfectly fits these roles.
Yeah.
That he's in.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Though he can act. Jesse Eisenberg, I've just come to accept is a great actor.
Absolutely.
Like Now You See Me and things like that have just changed my opinion.
Which don't get enough love, by the way.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I totally get that, because I feel like Michael Cera still to this day kind of thrives in that same role, whereas Jesse Eisenberg has outgrew that role.
He did shock me in End of the World or whatever when he was playing like the
At
crazy
World's End.
asshole. It was like, what? Yeah, that movie. And it was like, what? Michael Cera?
Right.
But yeah.
Oh, you guys are. That's not.
Oh no, I'm mixing him up with the
not At World's End. Hey, Simon Pegg.
The World's End is Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
You're talking about last.
We all know what we're talking about.
The Last
Zac
Supper.
Efron's in it.
It's the end.
Eastbound and Down.
This is
the end.
This is the end. Jesus.
This is the end.
My
Hey,
God.
fuck it.
Let's try that again.
No, we have to eat that shame.
Yeah, although Michael Cera definitely surprised all of us, and this is the end.
Yeah, when
That movie that we
crazy.
totally just thought of, like.
All right.
Got dude, his line in that movie is "sippy time." Oh, if you've never seen the movie, it's in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Don't worry, you won't.
And fun fact, he told Rihanna she could smack him in the face as hard as she wants if he got to smack her ass, to which she agreed. So that was all real.
Really? Wait, that actually happened? Like, behind the
And
scenes?
he luckily got to uphold in that movie.
But zombies, right?
Zombies.
Oh right, yeah, horror.
I'm a sucker for a classic, which you'll come to understand as we progress here. The original Night of the Living Dead. It's my favorite zombie. Anything really. It just perfectly described, but the whole concept of it. Like they're not. Like I like the Resident Evils with the crazy, super fast, crazy monsters, zombies and stuff. But I'm just a sucker for like the simple dread and less of the jump scares and stuff. I like. These people are trapped in this house and they're feeling more and more trapped because they get stuck more into less of the house, and
Right.
just like that sense of overwhelming dread.
Which is just terrifying to think about.
Exactly. Like, could you imagine these things that are trying to rip you apart and eat you, and you just get less and less room, and there's more and more of them as time goes on?
Until, what is it, like 3 of them by the end stuck in the basement?
Yeah, I think only the main chick survives by the end. She shoots the dude who didn't turn because he was a total prick.
Yeah. They're coming for you, Maggie. I think that's the line. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, that original, my grandma loved that movie, so she would watch it every once in a while, and I did, yeah. I don't think I watched it every time, because the old black and whites kind of, I love them when I see them
I know what
once,
you mean.
but they get old for me.
I think that one specifically is better in black and white. Like the color just kind of took away, like when they redid it in color, it just kind of like lost some of the magic that it
Yeah.
had. I don't know.
Kind of adds to the creep factor.
Yeah, and I'm not like black and white movies are the best or anything. It was just like with that, there's a couple specific movies where it just it's the right option in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Corey, you haven't actually name dropped a movie yet. Why don't we get something from you?
Yeah, we've talked about a couple that are already on my list, but I'm probably going to talk about one of the things that'll never leave my mind, and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's so good.
I love that movie so much. Like when he's freaking out at the end, the chainsaw flipping around, freaking out. I love that scene. But the one scene that'll never leave me is he drags that one girl down to his basement and just lifts her up and puts her on a hook. And he does it so effortlessly. Jesus. He does it so effortless. Okay, let me try this again.
English is hard.
He dove it.
You dove it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I dove it.
Beautiful. Perfect form. 10 out of 10.
He does it so effortlessly, like he's hanging up a shirt after doing the laundry.
Unlike Corey with the sentence, he does it so effortlessly.
That's the word I was trying to say.
That was magical. Oh my.
So I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I didn't really like any of the sequels to the first one back in the day, but
I agree.
I did like I think it was 2004, 2003 or 2004. They remade it.
Jessica Biel.
Yeah, and it was super dark and creepy, and I kind of enjoyed it. I like the more gritty movies like that almost make you uncomfortable watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong Turn, Hills Have Eyes, like stuff that just makes
Last
you
House on the
cringe
Left.
watching it. I don't know. Last House on the Left is a little too.
I hate that movie.
That was hard to watch for another reason.
Yeah.
Anytime there's
that I won't say.
No, I'm going to say it because anytime in a horror movie there is a super intense rape scene,
Yeah.
I can't really sit through it.
I can't. I get mad.
If it's longer than like a couple seconds where I'm
If
just a
it's
little
too
uncomfortable.
realistic.
But when it's so realistic and you hear the whole thing and it's just,
Yeah.
I have to get past it.
Skip scene.
Yeah. And the one in, I don't know if any of you have seen the remake of I Spit on Your Grave,
Yeah.
but
Mm-mm.
that scene is about 4.5 minutes long
Yes.
of multiple guys
Shit.
raping this girl. And
Oh,
it's
God.
just not needed. It was very unnecessary in the movie, which is a damn shame because honestly, the rest of the movie was pretty good.
Oh, absolutely.
Like she comes back and gets her revenge and kills them in very, very creative ways.
Absolutely, yeah.
The one he's like tied up to this guillotine thing and he has a shotgun in his ass and he has something he has to hold above his head. And if it drops, the string attached to it's going to shoot the shotgun that's in his ass.
Yep.
She kills him in very creative ways.
I know it's kind of off topic, but it's a movie that I think handles that whole situation right is Kill Bill, where it's implied that this was going on and she's like at the beginning when she first wakes up, you don't have to sit through it, but you still understand that it happened. And I think that's kind of the right way to approach that personally,
Yes.
for me at least.
It's something better that's like implied rather than showing us the...
If that's what someone wants to put in their movie,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
their movie. I don't like it personally.
Yeah.
I just can't. Ugh.
That's kind of a decent transition to how much I dislike most Rob Zombie films. This is kind of what he did with his version of Halloween, where there was this scene, Corey, you probably remember when Michael Myers is breaking out of the asylum.
At the very beginning, middle.
Maybe middle, but there was this scene where there was two different versions of the movie.
Oh, really?
One version omitted this scene.
Yeah, well, for very good reason.
I just thought that was part of it.
Because in both movies, these two guards take this girl into Michael's room. That's how he breaks out. But in the unedited or whatever, the director's cut, it shows these guys raping this girl in Michael Myers' room.
In a mental health ward.
And she's mentally ill. And it's like, that's just, I hate so much about what Rob Zombie does because it's so white trash. And it's just a genre that I don't get into at all. And like, I really liked the second half of his Halloween movie, but that's because it was pretty much a shot-for-shot remake of John Carpenter's. But that first half to me was hard to sit through.
To be honest with you, in that whole scene when they take that girl in the room, if they had implied they were going to do it like they did in the hallway,
Yes.
they like feel her up or whatever, and then they say, I have an idea, let's take him in Michael's room, and they go in Michael's room. Now, if they had started to do that and then he killed them, okay. I'm perfectly fine with that scene, and I could have sat through it just fine. But they just show these guys both do it before Michael even gets up to break out.
Yeah.
And it was completely unnecessary for both of them to do it before Michael even got up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
with
that was Rob Zombie just kind of flexing a little bit there.
That was Rob Zombie doing what he does.
Yeah, which don't get me wrong, I actually like Rob Zombie movies.
Oh,
I do too, generally. I just, certain scenes like that, it's just like, why?
I don't really like any Rob Zombie movies. So I just wanted to get that in there.
There's two camps for Rob Zombie. You either like his movies or you absolutely hate his
no
movies.
middle ground.
I think Rob Zombie can shoot the shit out of a scene. He's great at creating tense moments and atmosphere, but I don't think he can write at all. I think he should have somebody else do his dialogue. And there's just, and like I said, it's just every script he has to put his wife in the movie. It has to have just this over the top swearing and just white trashness to it.
Sounds like you're jealous that you just can't put your non-existent wife in the movie.
I'll get her one day. I was good to you, Mikey.
Oh,
Danny Trejo.
Poor Danny Trejo.
Oh my.
Poor Panther.
That's right.
We still throwing movies out here?
Oh yeah, definitely.
One that I feel like doesn't get enough love. I mean, I don't think, do we really have to bring up the obvious ones? Well, Doug, I don't know about Doug, but I mean, Adrian and I love the Friday the 13th series.
We do.
We
I
love
like
the
the first
Nightmare.
one.
We love the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
I'm not saying anything about that.
I
Me
love
and
the
A-
Friday 13th series so much. You can go watch my series review on Baker Reviews.
That's Baker Reviews on YouTube.
Shameless plug, go
Baker
Corey.
Reviews on YouTube.
I'll help out. And Adrian and I, probably one of our biggest series is Halloween, because
Oh, absolutely.
those are solid most of the way through.
That will probably come up in topic 3.
Even the shitty ones like H2O and stuff, I still love them.
Whoa. There's way shittier than H2O. Why didn't you say Resurrection?
What is wrong with Resurrection?
What?
Um,
Wait, do you like Resurrection more than H2O?
No. My favorite one is 3.
Busta Rhymes doing Kung Fu?
My favorite Halloween is definitely 3, though, Season of the Witch.
Wait, is it really?
When they didn't have that fucking Michael Myers guy in there.
Yeah, that fucking Michael Myers ruining the movies.
And then, of course, the 4th one, Return of Michael Myers.
Happy Halloween,
They had
Halloween.
to bring back the main villain.
But yeah, those are the obvious ones.
I mean, those are all obvious. Everybody loves them.
Right.
You either love, if you don't like horror, you don't like any of them. But if you love horror, you love all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess mine are a little more obscure.
One that doesn't get a lot of love because it wasn't like a slasher or I don't want to say bloodfest, because it definitely was a bloodfest, is Seven. I've seen Seven about 1,000 times, and I can watch it over and over and over again. It's Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
The 7 Deadly Sins.
7 Deadly Sins. They're going around town trying to figure out who's killing people by the 7 Deadly Sins, and it's just so good. And the ending to that movie is so brutal.
Is that the movie where What's in the Box?
What's in the Box?
What's in the Box
I
comes from 7.
Didn't ever know that was a horror movie.
Psychological thriller horror.
Okay.
No, but to be honest, I didn't even think to put that on this list, but that is one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah.
That movie is horror for one specific sin kill, and that is lust.
Right.
That makes it a horror movie right there. He makes the guy put on a knife dildo and have sex with a prostitute. That right there, makes it a horror movie.
That's brutal.
It was such a creative premise for a movie, like killing people with 7 deadly sins, like killing them in the different ways.
And again, I'm going to have to, I hate this because this is 2 episodes already that I've had to mention how much I love Kevin Spacey's acting.
Yep.
But when he comes out in that movie, he's so brilliant. And I can't really, I mean, spoiler, it's this movie's 25 years old, but
warning, anything we say in here might be spoilers.
For the next 2 minutes, it's a spoiler. When Kevin Spacey shows up before all the crimes are even done and turns himself in and then says he will tell them where the other 2 bodies are, and they take him out to this desert, and he just fucking has her head, Brad Pitt's wife's head, delivered to him because he wants him to finish with wrath and kill him, is fucking brilliant. It's such a good ending to a movie, and I can't say enough good things about it. I've watched that movie 1,000 times.
Absolutely.
That's one movie where the twist at the end isn't ruined and you can't watch it again.
Yeah, it still holds up through multiple rewatches.
Yeah.
Not like Memento or something.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
And since we're talking about spoilers, let's talk about the post-credit scene on Let There Be Carnage. Oh, wait a second. Never mind.
No.
Never mind.
If you do want to see him talk about that, go to Baker Reviews on YouTube.
I honestly didn't mean to plug that. But hey, thanks again, Corey.
You got it.
I'm sure we all want to get a couple more out here, so we'll have to spark note the last couple before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw a couple out that probably won't show up later. I think The Fly is a fantastic horror movie.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah, it's just like this crazy concept for its time. It was like,
and it's so quotable. The line he says,
that's my. I shed a tear the first
Jeff
time.
Goldblum should have got an Oscar for that.
It
was unbelievable.
And you know what flies love? That is one big pile of shit.
Carrie is one I think is underrated.
Yeah.
The remake?
No.
He said no.
No.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
There may not be a single remake on my list. Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
Like at first, because we were talking before the podcast tonight, and I wasn't even sure if I should put that on the list, but yeah, it is a horror. It's a horror movie. Straight up, Clarice is being just totally screwed with, like manipulated by like this brilliant evil bastard.
Oh
And
yeah.
being sent after this total psychopath that literally like wears people's skin. When I stopped and thought about it, I was like, wow, yeah, I can't believe I didn't think this was a horror movie. Like, what was I thinking?
I mean, and then there's a guy in there who kidnaps women and puts them in his basement. And then there's another killer who eats people. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely classifies as a horror, in my opinion.
I enjoyed him with a nice Chianti involved.
Hannibal the Cannibal, yeah, one of the most iconic characters in horror movie history.
Anthony Hopkins, one of the greatest actors of all time, for all time.
You mean Sir Anthony Hopkins?
You're right. I should have
You
put the
mean
respect on
Odin.
him.
I was just going to make a quick mention about The Flies. Like
Oh, okay.
that movie just gave me chills because like it kind of had like the body dysmorphia type of horror, and that kind of stuff always like makes my skin crawl. Like
It was just such a wild, like getting fused with this insect through it's like science thing gone wrong. Basically,
Mhm.
It's like that's like the kind of stuff that's nightmare fuel for me because I love to like think about science stuff, and it's like, what if that happened?
absolutely.
People were like, I want to be able to teleport. What happens if only half of you teleports? You're like, that's terrifying.
That is terrifying.
I'm not volunteering for that experiment anytime soon.
Does my curiosity overtake my fear? I don't know. Yeah, I want to save any of these others for later. So,
Okay.
what do you guys got?
I just have some creature features that I have to throw out. So I absolutely loved when I watched this movie with a friend, I think back in like 2005 maybe, The Descent.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent movie, actually. George Clooney.
No. The Descent is it's the all-female cast where they go spelunking
Oh, yeah.
and they get caught in these like caves. And it's just like these creatures that like can't see anything, but they go off sound.
Tremors?
Yeah, exactly. It's the all-female Tremors. No, but it's this girl that had this big like traumatizing incident with her ex-husband a year prior, and so she goes on this getaway with a couple girlfriends, and they have this map planned out for what they want to do with their spelunking, and this one friend takes them off route, and they get lost in these like catacomb of caves, and they discover these horrifying creatures underground, and it's just like, I don't know. It's like the mix of these creatures, and it's like it feels so claustrophobic the entire movie. Like they have limited lights. They only have like the little lights on their helmets, and those like don't work half the time. So that movie just kind of gets the creature with the claustrophobic, and it's just a really good twist near the end of the movie. Other than that, creature features, if you want to call it that, Corey, I think we've talked about this, but Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Man, that first entry was so good. It was a lot different than a lot of the other movies that were coming out at the time.
It was another one of those movies that made you not want to take a back road home.
Oh my God.
Because the wrong vehicle following you, you automatically assumed it was him, and you definitely were going to die.
Yeah. I think I just think the low budget and the open fields, the scenery they chose definitely added to that movie. Obviously that was before Justin Long was Justin Long.
Yes.
Didn't even realize he was in that movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's just a movie everybody should check out if you're a horror fan. The next few definitely don't hold up quite as strongly, but that first movie was amazing. They struck gold there. And that last image of, I guess it's another like 20-plus-year-old spoiler, but...
Let's just say the last time you see Justin Long in that movie, it will stick with you.
It will give you nightmares.
And it's not quite Justin Long in Tusk, but it is bad.
Yeah, now that's horrifying.
That was a low blow.
I love that movie. So I'm definitely
like
not saying anything bad.
unironically.
Yep.
Oh wow.
But you will find out when we do specific things about people. I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, so I'm a little biased.
Yeah. There's just so many. Misery. I love Misery. That's that movie made me terrified of Kathy Bates.
That's a pretty good one.
I broke my ankles a lot in my life, and that movie just makes me remember all the times.
What's the name of the hotel room movie? Samuel
1408.
Yeah,
1408. That is on my list.
Oh,
movie scares the hell
It
out
was
of you.
close to being on the top of my list.
Yeah, that movie. It's crazy how that movie literally made the main antagonist of the movie a hotel room.
And one of the
It was an
happiest
evil
songs,
fucking room.
one of the happiest sounding songs.
Right.
Creepy.
It's only just begun.
Yeah. And after watching that movie, that song gives me chills.
Oh, every time. Yeah, every time I hear it now, that's what I think
Imagine
of.
hearing it right
Mhm.
as you're going to bed.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bed tonight anyway. So.
Oh my God. And when he sees that person like out the other window, like when he sees the person through the window and he's like trying to get their attention and he looks up and it's him, like,
Yeah.
oh my God. That
Waving
movie,
at himself, yeah.
waving at himself, and then he sees the person jumping out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That movie gives me chills. That is definitely on my list.
I believe that's one of the ones that had the alternate, like if you bought the DVD, it came with an alternate ending
Yep.
disc.
There's an alternate ending.
There's one where like he never leaves the room, and there's
Yeah.
one where he actually gets out of the room.
I think I like the one where he never leaves the room more.
Me too.
I think that's a better ending.
Or it's like a dream and then he wakes back up in the room. Beautiful, beautiful. One other one I want to throw out is, this was also a mid-2000s, The Strangers with Liv Tyler.
Dude, that movie is so creepy.
Yeah,
I don't want to stay in any house that isn't right next to another house ever again.
absolutely.
Give me a breakdown of that
The
one.
Strangers is like the movie starts when she turned down her boyfriend's proposal, so they go back to this house, and it's really awkward at first. And it's just these three people that like break into their house or this home that they're staying in.
And these super lifeless masks.
Yeah. And they break in literally terrorizing these people all night. And at the end, like when they're talking to them and they're like, why us? And they're just like, because you were home. Like
They literally had no reason the entire movie to terrorize them, and then they just killed them at the end.
it's
You
just
were home.
it's just the idea that like that could happen to anybody for any
That's
reason.
all it takes. There
That's-
is no reason.
There's no
Yeah.
reason, because you were home. That's why we terrorized you.
And that's the whole reason that movie is so creepy. Like the movie itself overall isn't a super horrific movie,
Right.
but the intense terror they put them through, and then to find out it's just because they were home,
There's no motive.
it makes you think, holy, this world is super fucked up.
Could happen to anybody.
At any time.
And Glenn Howerton gets his head blown off by a shotgun, so that's fun.
Hey, we're all home right now.
He doesn't really get his head shut off, but there is an implication that he did.
It's about the implication.
Again, I like the super cringy things that make me a little uncomfortable, so I'm going to throw both Hostel movies in there
Those.
because I know they're horrible, horrible movies, and they don't deserve to be on anybody's list, but they are on mine, and I do enjoy them.
My thing about those kind of movies, they're never going to be on my list just because I don't really like the torture porn.
Gore movie.
I don't like the overly gory, like cutting people in half and like letting their bathing in their guts. And like,
It doesn't really bother me at all.
not that
kind
it
of stuff.
bothers me. It's just, I don't know. It's not my type of horror movie.
I don't know what it says about me, but I enjoy those kind of movies.
They just don't do anything for me. Like, it's not uncomfortable. It's not exciting. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I can see the appeal because it's
Right.
something you'll just hopefully never have to deal with in real life.
Well, it's not necessarily a documentary about my life, but I do
But we
enjoy.
we are all home, so anything could happen.
Right, because
That's
you
right.
were home. And then the two newest ones I have on my list are, I think, two pretty popular picks, but Get Out and A Quiet Place.
I'm going to tell you right now, I still haven't seen Get Out,
Oh, really?
which is stupid because I've heard I'd love it,
Oh my God, yeah.
and I love Jordan Peele, so
I didn't like Us as much, like his follow-up film.
yeah. See, I watched about half of Us, and I didn't really enjoy it that much.
No, yeah, don't even compare Us to Get Out.
I've already been told that. Yeah,
Yeah. No, but just Get Out, it's just fucking, it's such, I don't know, it's such a brain fuck. Like, you just have to watch that movie. It's unbelievable. I don't really want to say anything because it's newer.
Without any spoiler, just like, what's the idea?
So this black guy is dating this white girl, and
I know what you're talking about. I know what movie
Yep,
you're
you got
talking about. Okay. Yep. I
So
know
do
what
you
you're
need me
talking
not to say anything since Corey hasn't seen it?
about. I got it. Yeah.
oh,
got
I
it.
know most of the premise of the movie.
Yeah.
I just haven't
Okay.
seen it.
Yeah.
she takes him home to her family, and let's just say it gets fucking crazy.
I would have voted for Obama a third time if I could.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yep. That's yeah.
Yeah,
You're thinking of the right movie.
I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
and I know that line.
Yep.
Yeah. That movie. Oh,
Yeah, it's such a brain fuck, but that's definitely one everybody should see. And then A Quiet Place obviously was John Krasinski's directorial debut. I just really love the premise. It really, he has such a good eye for making movies already, like young in his career. And the fact that you can make an entire movie with about 10 lines of dialogue, if not less, and it's compelling the entire runtime, like that really says a lot about how you set up scenes. And
You're literally acting with your face that whole movie,
yeah.
and they nail it. I still haven't seen the second one, but
Oh, the second one is awesome as well.
Hmm.
Not as good as the first, but yeah, just, you know what I mean? Yeah, like you said, though, a whole movie. Imagine getting the script for A Quiet Place. It's like probably like 2 pages long. And it's like, how are we going to make this a good movie? And he fucking nailed it.
actually, it would still be about 100 pages long, but everything would be in
Everything
parentheses.
Right.
so apparently people loved that Lighthouse movie. I didn't really get it, but
The Lighthouse.
yeah,
I haven't watched that yet.
Me neither.
I've heard mixed reviews.
it's an art film. If you're not into art films, you're not gonna like it. It's as
Right.
simple as that.
Right.
I do like some of that kind of stuff, so I don't know. I might check it out eventually.
Yeah, I think it's worth giving a shot.
The only other one I want to throw out there, it's a bit of a niche cult classic movie that you either love it or you hate it because of the ending, but I love Cabin in the Woods. I love how it was kind of like, for the first half of the movie, it was Evil Dead. The second half of the movie, you find out it's more like The Condemned or Hunger Games. It's kind of a fun movie.
What a twist!
Yeah, it was a huge twist. I didn't see it coming at all because I thought I was in theaters to watch another just horror movie about teenagers in the woods, but it turned out to be a whole lot more. And I like anything with Ken Jenkins in it. So
Oh, yeah. Ken Jenkins.
You know, the guy from Jeopardy.
Yeah, he really did good in that movie.
for 73 straight weeks.
I have to give props for M. Night Shyamalan made one movie that is probably worth not Signs, but that. Oh my god, I forgot
The
the name
Sixth
of the movie.
Sense.
Yeah, thank God.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
trying to like come up with it. I was like, where did it go? I was
The
like,
Village?
no, like the Sixth Sense.
No, The Sixth Sense is, yeah. That's another one that's one
I
of
like
my
one
favorite
more,
movies.
well, 2 more of his movies, but they aren't horror. So
Me
Right.
too.
Oh, you like Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Oh, let me go there. Go ahead and do that again.
Yeah, no, The Sixth Sense was like groundbreaking for the time it came out.
I remember seeing it for the first time. I think I was like, what year did it come out? Do anyone?
2001, 99?
2000. I think it was 2001. I think you're right about
I
that.
think my dad ordered it on pay-per-view, and I got to watch it like as a kid, and I loved that movie. It was so just interesting beginning.
99.
99. Yeah, that makes
my
sense.
second
So
guess.
I would have been 9 or 10.
It was my
when I
first
watched
guess,
it.
and you swayed me. You son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Swayed.
I think to this day, probably like Haley Joel Osment, that's probably my favorite child acting role of any movie I've ever seen.
I
Like
thought you were gonna say your favorite Haley Joel Osment.
Well, I mean,
I was gonna say, yeah.
oh yeah, I thought you were saying that like it was a dumb remark. Like, yeah, what else has he done? I was always more of a secondhand Lions fan.
I got a question for you then, since you mentioned that. Good Son or Sixth Sense?
Sixth Sense.
Really? Okay.
I love The Good Son, and
Ooh.
I mean,
But for child acting role specifically,
Sixth Sense.
I don't know if Macaulay Culkin could be one up for how well he pulled off a Psycho at that young age.
Problem with that comparison is Haley Joel Osment didn't say a lot in The Sixth Sense. He had very minimal lines. He just had to look scared most of the time.
but he nailed it.
The Good Son, yeah, but he had Bruce Willis next to him.
But he had plenty of soul, and it's good.
I think he did pretty good.
Just think about it this way, though. Like, you have Bruce Willis next to you. You're a child actor. He's encouraging you. You're doing good. Or you're a child actor, Macaulay Culkin, acting next to a child actor, Elijah Wood, and you still nail it?
Yeah,
They both nailed it, really. Like,
yeah. I think Haley Joel Osment's is more impressive considering he's working with like one of the biggest A-listers in Hollywood.
better or being carried by? I'm kidding.
Macaulay Culkin didn't know it, but he was also working with an A-lister eventually.
Well, right, but John McClane would kick Frodo's ass.
How dare you? Wait, with or without the ring?
Okay, that's fair.
Well, wait, does he have his... Okay, you know what? We can have this argument on another episode.
We are never going to have this argument again.
Welcome to our podcast, John McClane versus Frodo Baggins.
Frodo easily wins. Anyway.
John McClane specifically.
John McClane from which Die Hard?
Well, he gets older as they go, so give it a couple more years and I'll pick that one.
Live Free or Die Hard John McClane? Or are we talking Die Hard or John McClane? Like,
I'm going to say Die Hard 12, Are You Going to Die Already?
how am I still alive?
Die Another Day. Wait a second. That might be James Bond.
All right. I think we got to be happy with what we said and get moving on to the next topic, guys. Any last... You got to get it out or you're going to explode.
Yeah, Corey, let me just say one more because you and I both watched this when we were younger and nobody ever talks about it. I'll actually say 2 Kevin Bacon movies. You probably know the 2 I'm talking about that aren't Tremors. So Hollow Man and Stir of Echoes.
What's Stir of Echoes?
Ooh.
I've never even heard of that.
It is a mindfuck of a movie. It's really complicated to explain, really. He lives in this house. He's a skeptic for hypnotizing. He's a skeptic for hypnotizing, and this girl's at a party. She hypnotizes him, and he it actually works, and he freaks the fuck out, like it scares him. But then he starts seeing this ghost girl who is trying to get him to help her, and he can't figure out how because she's not saying anything in these visions, and he's just freaking out trying to figure out how to help her. He finally figures out how to help her. She's asking him to find her body, so he's just going all over his house, just trying to find her body.
He's digging like 30 holes in his backyard. Like his wife thinks he's going crazy
because he kind of is.
He is.
And his son has the vision too, and his son, another good child actor, honestly, in that movie,
absolutely,
who has the vision also, and he's just used to it because he had it since he was born.
He talks to her like normally,
and it's hard to explain really without watching it. Like the premise sounds, he gets hypnotized and a girl wants him to find her body. It sounds boring.
No, it's interesting. It's different.
Oh, it's fascinating.
But it's
such
very,
a good
very
movie.
good. Hollow Man's more of like an action horror thriller thing.
Yeah.
Right. But I just wanted to get to Kevin Bacon movies that aren't Tremors, even though I love Tremors.
I could be wrong, but I feel like Hollow Man's like one of those like beloved classics.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Mostly only from people like when we were at that age.
Well,
because it kind of came out when we were the right age.
Are aging millennials.
That's right.
So.
And also, for whatever reason, I saw I Am Legend in theaters 3 times. Speaking of like creature features, and I really loved that movie.
I'm not gonna get into that discussion with you on this episode.
Why won't you talk to me, man?
Oh no, Fred. Stop fucking with me, Fred.
I too liked the first episode of Twilight Zone and Omega Man. Anyway, it was a good movie. I liked it as well. I think we gotta move on. I don't think I'm actually more curious about topic 2 for you guys, because in this topic we're going to go on about the horror films that we find to just be overrated. They're just not worth the hype.
Well,
I'm really dying to hear.
The first thing I got to throw out there, and it's because I'm such a such a fan of like 80s slashers and all the artwork that you can, even the silly artwork where all the slasher villains are sitting around playing poker together. Anything where they're all kind of together being creepy or being friends, I like it. And I hate that every single time one of those posters or paintings is made, Hellraiser is on there for some reason. They're not good movies. Not one of them is scary.
I agree.
Not one of them has a good story. They're fucking boring.
Pinhead is the dumbest looking.
Well, guys,
like
all 3 of us have Hellraiser in the same level.
It's so.
I also want to throw it out there, fans. That's being very generous for myself.
Well, maybe not anymore after Hellraiser after we knock Hellraiser.
We all came into this in our overrated category. We all had 6 entries, all 3 of us.
Without
We didn't even know.
planning.
We did not plan that.
So this
we
is
had
the
666.
the 666 overrated.
This is the 666 portion.
So this is
Hey,
this is going to
hey.
be fun.
And you started with Hellraiser.
And I started with Hellraiser.
You son of a bitch. Yeah, no, I never thought Pinhead belonged
No.
in the echelon with the Freddys, the Michaels, the Jasons, the Chuckies, the Ghostface, any of those, Leatherface.
It's funny you mentioned Freddy because I don't think he belongs with any of the other ones you mentioned either. Because I think Nightmare on Elm Street is horribly overrated. I don't like those movies.
And this has been culture shocked.
Yep. I knew I hit you with my big
You
one.
don't
right away.
like
I wasn't
Nightmare on
saving it.
Elm Street.
I don't. I think it's just too campy. I can't even pretend to take it.
Friday the 13th is campy.
Camp Crystal Lake.
camping.
Literally camping. Yeah.
Camp Forest Green.
Like Nightmare on Elm Street has this cool premise, but Freddy is such a clown. Like the way he acts.
Pennywise is a
Wait,
clown.
I can't.
Yeah, Doug, you're getting your genres mixed. Jason does camp. Pennywise is the clown.
I think you're mixing these up, man.
No, but okay, no, I understand what you're saying, but the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy is not a clown at all. He's serious. He doesn't make like a joke in the movie.
It's the way he talks and.
You need to go back and watch the original, I think.
I might
Watch
have
the
to.
original.
It might. Maybe I've been tainted by the sequels.
I feel like you're basing a lot of your Freddy stuff off of Freddy versus Jason.
No.
No, any Freddy Part 4 and beyond is way too goofy. Except A New Nightmare, Wes Craven's A New Nightmare.
Oh yeah, he was
Which they
creepy.
went back to the fucking scary.
Yeah,
Yes. See, Freddy, I'm kind of divisive about Freddy because I do like Dream Warriors. That's maybe my favorite entry in the series.
It is,
But
mine.
that is it. But that
Oh,
is
yeah.
where he started making jokes. So like I feel like this is before he went overboard that direction. So I was okay with some of his quips in there. But I do prefer a darker, scarier Freddy.
I'll go back and give the original a shot.
Watch the
I tend to
original.
like the originals most anyway, but maybe it's just my view of him has been tainted by the later entries.
I understand that part. There are some awful Freddy movies. Freddy's Dead is the worst
Yes.
out of all 3, Freddy, Michael, and Jason. Freddy's Dead is the worst movie out of all 3.
The only thing I didn't like about the original is it takes quite a while to get to Freddy.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. Like in a horror movie, the build up to like that kind of thing can take a long time.
Agreed, but I don't think it should be in the first movie.
I will say the first Nightmare on Elm Street probably has the most memorable characters out of like the original, all 3 of the big 3.
You mean Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp, yeah.
Johnny Depp and Nancy Thompson. So, oh man, I don't know. I understand what you're saying when it comes to later Nightmare on Elm Street entries.
Well, it's like I said, it could be just that the later entries just have warped my view of the character, and maybe I'm wrong about the original.
Like if people want to say they hate Jason after he turned into a zombie, like I get that as well. I don't agree with it. I still enjoy a lot of those movies, but it kind of leans into one direction very heavily. And it's kind of the same argument I would have, like Part 6, Friday the 13th, Jason Lives.
My major difference is Jason himself never became the joke. It was the rest of the movie in those later entries. But with Freddy, he became the punchline, and it was like I just don't get what's the point? What are they trying to do?
Because every group of friends needs a comedian.
And in that group, it's just the horrifying knife blade man.
It happens to be the burn up pedophile man.
I assume that's gonna be the most like jarring take for topic 2 from me. So I just wanted to get it out of the way.
So don't get me started on that god awful 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
I've never even seen it.
And as much as I love Jackie Earle Haley, just not good.
Right.
Was it the Rorschach guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, Rorschach.
Yeah.
or more commonly known as
Dukes.
I don't know his real
Dukes
name.
from Semi-Pro.
Fred Dukes, or not Fred Dukes.
What?
Sorry, that's X-Men. Dukes from
Dukes.
Semi-Pro.
He was just some hippie on Semi-Pro.
He wins $10,000 giant check. You won this giant check that says $10,000.
No
But
actual
not
money.
actually 10,000.
Did you try taking it to a bigger bank? Bigger bank?
Yeah, when I heard
Oh,
when I heard Dukes was going to play Freddy Krueger, I was just to say a little concerned.
Watch Watchmen.
I luckily was thinking,
I'm sure
Rorschach's
you
gonna
guys
be
were.
Freddy.
Right. And there are there are just some things you don't mess with a classic. Like that remake has Freddy coming through the wall, just like he did in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. But the new movie is all CGI. Where like the old one, they literally just had like a green screen type material, and he just kind of like poked through it.
Yeah, practical effects are kind of a dying art.
Yeah, right. And the new movie is just completely CGI everything, and I mean that's not the only issue, but
You've
it's
seen
one
the
of my
Avengers,
biggest.
right?
I have.
That's all practical effects. Though.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a real city.
Oh yeah, the Toxic Avenger.
Oh yeah, there's a movie nobody ever talks about.
I'll knock a few more of these off and then let you guys get to the nitty gritty. The Blair Witch Project, if you're our age, it was like this hyped up thing, and it's the dumbest movie I've ever seen. One of the dumbest
I like
movies.
it, but
I'm surprised.
I definitely understand not liking it.
I hate those found footage films. Like,
Yeah.
I usually don't like them either.
they feel so like, oh no, it's an artistic pull. No, you just wanted to record it on a cheap camcorder and save some money. That's all I can think.
Blair Witch Project being the first one to ever get the found footage through to a big studio is very impressive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like,
I think it was somebody trying to figure out a way
like
around.
the first big one, but like it didn't do nothing. Like I was like,
well, the first big one was wish I could remember the name of it. It was Cannibal something from back in the 50s or where they go to that cannibal island and
Cannibal Corpse.
Is that what it's called?
No, that's
that band.
That's a band that had a singer that sang a song called "Basement Full of Skulls," and later authorities found a basement full of skulls.
That dude belongs in a horror episode.
Oh, that's that guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that first found footage Cannibal, whatever it was called, is the one that spawned Green Inferno by Eli Roth, which was a very uncomfortable movie. Eli Roth. So that's all I gotta say.
Have you ever read into the theory that there actually was nothing going on in the Blair Witch Project, and the two guys actually killed the girl at the end?
To me, that would have been a better movie.
Yeah, because like remember at the end of the movie, they're all three like in that house, all panicked.
Yeah,
and she goes downstairs and sees the one guy staring at the wall.
Yeah,
and like there's a whole theory that they like lured her in. This whole trip was luring her into this house so the two guys could kill her.
Yeah, just scared the hell out of her.
Just exactly scared the hell out of her.
The problem with that theory is they made a sequel.
Oops.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
Video games and
different things. We don't talk about that.
Another one is the Paranormal Activity
Yep.
movies. They just keep
It's on mine,
pumping
too.
these motherfuckers
That's on
out,
mine.
and they're not scary. They're silly more. Than
I went and saw the first one in theaters and I fucking loved it. And then they just kept going with it.
What is there like? It's like, are they competing with Fast and the Furious, who can pump out the more shitty sequels? Like, is the ghost gonna get a rocket ship to space?
A found footage Jason Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. Now they're fighting a ghost car. Like,
yeah, can you imagine a killer going to space? Doug said, "Oh wait, Jason did that." Leprechaun did that.
I actually have another series of movies on this list that also won't stop pumping out shitty sequels.
Saw?
Is it Saw?
Don't you ever fucking say that again. The Conjuring series.
The Conjuring?
Yeah.
Conjuring / Annabelle / Nun. I fucking hate all those movies. They're terrible.
/No.
The Devil Made Me Do It? Was that The Conjuring, the new one?
I don't know. I hate them.
I
stopped watching them a long time ago.
There's like this, it's a type of horror movie like those that is just, I don't know who exactly is funding them at this point and just continuing to feed them money.
I don't know. And they got Patrick Wilson in all of them. Like, he's a pretty big name.
Patrick Bateman?
No.
I just don't get, like, there's just certain movies I just don't get. I get, like, obviously there are enough people out there enjoying them that they're pumping the motherfuckers out, but I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm not really like I don't like those kind of movies either. I'm not really into the whole spirit thing. I mean, unless we're talking about 13 Ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Shalhoub. Matthew Lillard.
Yep, Matthew Lillard.
Hey.
I said that.
He'll come up again. I said that one.
I just have two more. I'll just get them out of the way. It was another one that was big years ago, The Ring.
It's on my list, too.
It was silly. It was just another silly movie.
The Ring is just one that I nothing.
Exactly. It's just like, what is this? And The Grudge.
The Ring and The Grudge.
Yeah, I just think they're both so... They were, like, hyped all hell.
Right.
And you would hear constantly, these are so scary.
That tends to be like those were like a big like Asian type horror thing, right? Like that's kind of like a bigger thing over
in Japan. Yeah,
they had like that look, but they didn't have the.
Well, both of those movies had originals in Japan,
and I'm sure they were different.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I've actually seen.
What I mean.
I've seen the Japanese Grudge, and it's way better.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there was a movie that came out.
Horror.
There was a movie that came out years ago called The Eye with Jessica Alba.
And that's a remake.
And that's a remake of a Japanese movie. And somebody told me to watch the Japanese version, and holy shit, is it better?
Yeah,
it's just so
Japan
gruesome and disgusting.
How to fill you with terror and disgust you.
And it made the American one look like made it look like Teletubbies.
Movie.
It was
no,
never mind. That's terrifying. It made it look like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
The House of Mouse is here. Oh my!
There's a mouse in the house.
What is it? That one that everybody's freaking out about in recent years. Parasite, the Korean one.
Oh, yeah. Parasite's an awesome movie.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's on the list. I'm just talking about like the Asian. Yeah, no. Like,
I haven't seen that one yet.
What about Train to Busan?
Asian horror movies are just a different breed.
Oh, they are.
Yeah. Asian horror, everything. It's just a different breed.
Have you seen that yet? Train to Busan or whatever it's called? Train to Busan?
No.
I have not.
That was a 2016 movie. That's definitely worth watching as well.
I'm just going to throw the only one I have left on mine.
I'm sorry, I
did a few of
picked
mine.
on the list.
I don't understand the hype with Candyman. I don't think they're good movies. I saw the new one, and it just didn't do anything. I don't know. The original Candyman wasn't fun. I don't care. I didn't care about it. The bee part scared me because I'm deathly allergic to bees. But other than that,
scariest movie you saw since My Girl.
Yeah, those are the two on my list.
Joke, man. Macaulay Culkin strikes again.
That's right. God damn it. The
best
Macaulay
child
Culkin
actor. Look at that.
He dies more than Sean Bean.
Oh man, I didn't see that cut of Home Alone.
Oh, I did. You don't want to see it. It's in the Japanese version.
Yeah, this one the robbers win.
Oh man. Oh.
And fuck, do they win? Wow. Well, so a lot of mine were covered as well. One was actually two of mine were covered in the first topic.
Okay.
Cabin in the Woods.
Okay.
I've watched that a few times. Never did anything for me.
It gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, the first half was, I don't know, I guess it was kind of fun, but it only got worse as it went along. And then my second one is actually the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that movie. I don't know.
That's a hot take.
Hey, call me Jaws, or should I say Christmas Vacation?
Both those movies suck.
Kind of like Saw.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, no, but I'm not a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You don't like the gory stuff at all, so
right?
I can see that.
I don't know if it's the way it was shot or
the fact that he wore his victim's faces on his face.
From everything I heard on Adrian's opinion on Rob Zombie movies, I don't think he likes the rednecks killing in the woods kind of stuff. So That's really kind of what the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
I don't like
family
Texas
was.
Chainsaw Massacre. I don't like Rob Zombie movies. I don't like Hills Have Eyes. I don't like any of that shit.
I totally get why you don't like Leatherface.
What about the scariest movie of all time, Idle Hands?
Idle Hands. Oh man, that's on my top 3.
You too?
No. Oh, you too? Oh God, I have another hot take. I think I don't know how people in this room will feel about it. I didn't know Texas Chainsaw was going to be a hot take. So my hot take is The Exorcist.
Oh my God.
I'm sure for its time it was like a brilliant movie, but it is widely regarded to a lot of people as the scariest movie of all time.
Yeah, that's not true.
I wouldn't go that far, but I would say it might come up in topic 3 for me.
So there's Doug's hot take for me.
Yeah,
I've gone back and I've rewatched multiple times. I'm also not a fan, just like the rednecky stuff. I'm not The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Drag Me to Hell, stuff like that. Also doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, I don't like any of those, but I love.
I'm
The
a sucker
Exorcist.
for an original. That's what I am.
Which it is the original. So, and I respect it for what it did for the genre of horror. And it's not a movie. It's not a movie I hate. It's just an overrated movie. That's what this topic is. It's not movies. Right. Listen, it's not movies we hate, everybody. Before anyone comes attacking, these are movies that we find to be overrated.
I said Nightmare on Elm Street.
Adrian fucking hates The Exorcist. Did you ever try and rewatch it with the crab walk down the steps? Holy shit, that's creepy.
Have you tried that crab walk? That's impressive.
Not down the steps.
Can't even do it normally.
Yeah, they were trying to teach that day one in a yoga class, and I walked out.
I didn't walk out. I observed from the back, but
and then it's called the downward facing crab.
I think I'm allergic to that kind of crab.
So
I heard Full Metal Snake died to a crab once in an epic battle.
And then my last one, you like the giant crabs in Fallout 4?
No, we're not doing a video game episode right now.
Oh, that's right.
Those suck, though.
Yeah, they did. God, those were scary. And the last one on my list, Doug knows because it's on his list as well, and I guess we'll give Corey the floor. But the last one on our overrated list is going to be Saw.
I'm literally wearing a hat right now.
So, Corey, in a nutshell, why do you like these pieces of shit?
I'm not going to be that hard. Good segue into talk.
I don't know how to come at that. I feel extremely attacked.
Save that energy.
I need an adult.
I need an adult. So you need an adult.
Oh yeah, that got me going. Listen, I can't talk about this right now because it's going to come up in a couple more things coming up for me. So
all 3.
Yeah. Saw 2 and Saw 3.
Oh.
Okay, so never mind. We will talk about this when topic 3 comes.
I got a random overrated franchise that I just thought of because I kind of forgot it existed. All the Child's Play movies, every single one.
All of them?
I hate them.
Oh my God.
Not only as a child, that fucking doll scared the shit out of me. To the point that when he was at SummerSlam, whatever, and I was watching it, and they had Chucky on it for some reason, I left the room, ran out of the room. But I've just always, as I got older, I was like, he just drops one-liners and says stupid shit. I don't get
fuck with the Chuck.
Yeah, exactly. What am I supposed to be? What's the deal with this movie?
Those movies are not masterpieces, but
no, not by any means. But
I would say Puppet Master was more believable.
Well, when we're in the realm of horror, it's not exactly realism we're looking for.
Not believable, but scary, believable.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Frightening in any way.
Yeah, that's understandable. No, but 1 and 2, Child's Play 1, 2, and then Bride of Chucky, I think, are all still amazing movies. I
was sort of interested to check out the new one, just because the premise, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's any good. But I thought it was a neat idea. But
what you mean, Charles, or
whatever
the Chucky TV show they're coming out with?
That actually looks really good.
Yeah,
They're coming out with a Chucky TV show
On Sci-Fi. Yeah.
Oh, I just meant the movie where he's like can like transfer through like the internet and stuff or whatever, and I was like, that's a really neat idea.
They
terrifying.
found a very clever way to modernize it for sure.
Like that sounds far scarier to me than.
Oh,
the
you're talking
original
about like the
ones.
2019, the remake.
Yeah,
The
the remake.
remake,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was
with
like,
Mark
that's a
Hamill.
really. I thought it was an interesting idea. I haven't seen it yet though, but
It's actually very clever the way they brought it into the new world, and it's actually very clever the way they make Chucky an actual murdering doll.
Yeah. This is the one time I will ever say in my life I was disappointed with Mark Hamill's voice performance, because obviously he's the fucking Joker. But when I'm used,
Chucky.
he did
Yeah.
Chucky.
He's Chucky.
But when I'm used to Brad Dourif, Mark Hamill didn't do it for me. But the movie was pretty solid.
Brad Dourif definitely is the better Chucky. I'll give you that. But he kind of just did Joker, just tamer Joker.
Yeah.
And there's like two spots where he kind of yells as Chucky, and you hear Joker.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved it still.
Yeah, my only main issues with the movie were honestly the look and sound of Chucky, like which are two pretty big things. But you know what? we're not going to get into this because I didn't like Chucky. I didn't like the other kids besides the main kid. There's actually a lot of things I didn't like about.
Sounds
this
like
movie.
you just didn't like that movie.
You know what? Fuck that movie. It sucked.
Yeah, screw the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Would you say it's as bad as Nightmare on Elm Street? I'm
No, like
Ugh.
as far
we
as
already talked about it.
as far as remakes, hell no.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the remake.
Yeah, but the best remake of the three, I think Corey agrees with me.
Oh,
Friday the
yes.
13th.
Friday
Friday
13th, 2009.
Easy. Yeah.
Derek Mears is the best Freddy there is, in my opinion.
Well, he's a better Jason, but
Oh, yeah.
he was okay.
No, guys. No, you misunderstood me. His name was Freddy Voorhees. He was Jason's brother.
Oh, Michael Voorhees and Freddie.
It wasn't a remake. It was actually his brother who came up. You know, he was
Yeah, I
younger.
think it was a really different direction they went.
Yeah.
People said they played it too formulaic. I disagree completely. Freddy Voorhees.
But no, to correct that, Derek Mears is the best Jason, in my opinion. He was just intense and terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
There's a hot take.
I actually really like the Friday the 13th remake. It's like the one remake out of all these horror remakes that really, really like just surpassed the original.
Do you know why
Friday
it surpassed the original? Because it wasn't his fucking mom.
It was no.
That bitch got her head chopped off in the first 30 seconds.
I liked the original Friday the 13th out of the original series the most. But this remake was just like that was the scariest Jason that's ever existed,
Yes.
hands down.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
that's what I've always wanted to see Jason do.
My biggest problem with Jason as a killer back in the day was when people are running from him in the woods, they definitely would get away.
And he's
walking.
Yeah,
They would definitely get away.
he's magic.
It's pretty
walking.
obvious in the later movies that he can teleport as a zombie.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that does become,
in the
especially on the boat,
On the fucking boat.
the way he's transporting around
Jason
the room.
takes Manhattan.
Jason
Yeah.
takes
Is that
a boat
what
ride.
we're talking about.
Jason takes a boat ride for an hour and a
Jason
half.
goes to
And then he swims.
Jason
And then he
vacation.
swims a day and a half to Manhattan.
Jason and Chevy Chase vacation.
Jason and
Massacre.
Chevy. Now I would pay a lot of money to see that movie.
I would pay nothing. I don't want to see that fucking movie.
Oh, you mean Chevy Chase? Wait,
Chevy
I can't even
Chase.
say it wrong. How do you
Like
say
a
it?
truck. Like a
Chevy
truck.
Chase.
I love
Chase.
Chevy Chase. I hate Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Any other last additions before we move on to the big one?
I don't have any more hot takes.
Alien was pretty sick.
Yeah, that movie kicks ass.
I
You
forgot
guys
to
should
say
check
that in
that
the
out.
first
Yeah,
topic.
we all did. We
Check
talked
out
about it
Ridley
before the
Scott's
podcast.
Alien.
Yeah,
You guys should check that
top
out.
tier film.
I watched Without a Paddle last week.
So did I. That's fucking crazy.
Please. Okay.
Another movie, speaking of Matthew Lillard.
Oh,
That's why I mentioned them.
Scooby Doo 2, greatest horror.
Yeah, really underrated. Monster Island or whatever the fuck.
I think it was rated
Eight
exactly
from
where it
Monster
should be.
Like a 1 out of 45.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna start with you, Adrian. What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh my god, wait, so how are we doing this? Are we actually just naming our top favorite scary movie or
You tell me.
Clarice? Oh man, well Corey, I know this can all be edited out, so we're just kind of BSing here. But Corey, I know you had talked about favorite killers as well, so how do we want to divvy this up?
I was gonna just do a top 3 and then tell you my favorite killer.
Just pepper it in, yeah.
Yeah,
If you want to do that, do that.
you don't have to make it like a category or anything. I was just gonna.
Are you
say
talking like real life killers or?
Oh, I have a list of those, but
That's what I'm wondering.
no, I mean movie killer. I have an uncomfortable list of favorite serial killers.
Yeah, we talked. You want Funko serial killer?
I do. I wish they
Why?
made them.
Okay.
Funko, I'm reaching out to you. We'll sponsor you.
All right. Yeah. So just go.
Sorry,
ahead
I meant you can sponsor us.
I didn't feel the need to like explain the final topic. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what we were leading up to and what we've avoided talking
It's
about.
cool, Doug. This is Cash.
Cash. Okay.
I think we're doing a good damn job, Corey.
Pretty good job. So do you just want me to start us out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just threw it your way. Go ahead. I'm gonna go last like normal.
Alrighty. Trying to figure out how I want to place these. So
You didn't have this planned out.
I have more than 3 movies on my list, and I'm like, which 3 do I want? It's so fucking hard. And also my list is difficult.
Does that list get you really that excited, man?
I said also my list is difficult.
Oh,
what
We
in
made
the
the
world
same
is
joke.
up?
we made the same fucking joke.
Right.
Man.
All right. So literally
3. No honorable mentions.
No honorable
just saying.
mentions.
Yeah, we got to stop doing that. So
All right. So to start out my top 3, which was a very hard list to make, and this is my least traditional horror movie in the traditional horror sense, but it's going to be The Sixth Sense. This not only is this one of my favorite horror psychological movies, whatever you want to call it, but it's just one of my favorite movies of all time. The acting.
Now we understand why he was talking shit on Macaulay Culkin earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, the acting in this movie is just brilliant. Bruce Willis, obviously an established A-lister, and you have the best child acting performance of all time. hands down. And just the twists that this movie took you through. There were some genuinely terrifying moments. Every interaction that this kid Cole had with these ghosts always freaked me out. And obviously the twist at the end, 22-year-old spoiler here, he was dead the whole time.
Yeah, he told us when he sees dead people, it was a dead giveaway. Who didn't pick that up?
Yeah, right. And it is so crazy what seems like such an obvious thing the movie was giving us, like upon rewatch. Nobody picked that up the first time watching it.
I know. I couldn't believe it when I found out the kid was dead the whole time.
Exactly. If you told me you knew that kid was dead the whole time, you were lying.
I think you guys are confusing me.
Oh no, it was Bruce Willis's wife that died.
Oh yeah.
It
thought it was the guy
It was
in the
Donnie
bathroom.
Wahlberg.
I thought it was the guy in the bathroom.
Donnie Wahlberg.
Donnie Wahlberg.
That's Donnie Wahlberg.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah,
And
that movie was creepy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. And on top of a movie that can like make you feel that way, there was also just like such emotional moments, like when he's talking to his mom in the car and he's telling her like how grandma was there to watch her dance that day, and like how she says she misses her and she's proud of her. Like not very often does a horror movie make me emotional, but that movie really hit all the right notes. So that's my number 3.
I just want to touch on it real quick. The girl with the soup whose mother was poisoning her, or boy, I can't.
Yeah,
it's been a while, but that one's always stood out to me, and how just fucked up that was. It was like,
oh my god,
because like I saw it when I was like 10. It was like soup for dinner.
Yeah, like when he finds the videotape and gives it to the dad.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
because she just keeps vomiting, and it was like, oh, no wonder she's drinking poison. And
she's literally feeding her. Yeah. Oh my god,
keeping her sick on purpose. That was so twisted.
And then when the kids just like lock him in that closet, like, oh my god, the movie just made me feel so many things.
That is another one where the twist at the end doesn't ruin the rewatchability.
Oh, never.
Yeah, there's enough there to keep it
right. There's enough substance.
It's almost like you feel like you're part of an inside joke.
Usually with Shyamalan, it's all about the twist, and that's all he cares about revealing. But Sixth Sense, he definitely had a story.
Absolutely.
He has like 2 sets of films like that, and that's it. The rest are all really bad. But
Yeah, and at that moment, you thought he might become like the best producer director like in the world, and then some other movies came out, but we won't get into that. Number 2 is going to be the movie I talked about at the beginning of the podcast, the original Scream. It's my favorite.
Wow.
It's my favorite horror comedy of all time. I love how self-aware it is of the genre as a whole. I love all the characters in this movie, including Courtney Cox. She's great as Gail.
Yes.
I love
Weathers.
I love Dewey. I love Sydney.
Doofy?
Doofy, that's right. Oh yeah, Doofy, that's what I meant. The twist. Also, the movie was like unique in this twist of having like 2 killers. Like you really wondered like how is this guy everywhere all the time?
Yeah.
And what seemed like so they were setting up this one guy the entire movie to be the killer. It seems like, okay, that's too obvious. Like, or is that what the movie wants us to think? That's why he will be the killer.
Also, Scary Movie really does like parody perfectly.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. That's surprising.
Yeah. And the opening of that movie as well, like everybody, Drew Barrymore was the poster child of that movie. She was the huge star at the time, and she was slated to be the main star of that movie, and they kill her off in 5 minutes. That shocked the whole world. Like, what? I thought this was her movie.
Wow.
Yeah, that was bold as hell.
And in comes Wild Things Nev Campbell.
Yeah, that's it. Sidney Prescott, baby. I love everything about that movie. Like, to me, that's almost a perfect horror movie. And then, there can only be one. So my favorite movie of all time, I don't think this is a huge hot take, but my favorite movie is the original Halloween, 1978. That's the movie that I go back to time and time again. I'm going to watch it within the next week or two leading up to Halloween Kills. I just love so much about that movie. Michael Myers is probably my favorite killer. Spoiler.
Worst theme song ever. I'm kidding.
Do-do-do-do-do.
It depends who's singing it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's true.
No, but Michael Myers is easily my favorite killer of all time. Just the stalking nature of him.
He walks fast.
Right. And it's just terrifying that even in the movie, one of my favorite characters in horror movie, Dr. Sam Loomis, rest in peace, Donald Pleasance. But I just love all the monologues he has in this movie just about how Michael Myers is pure evil. Like the fact that this guy has no motive, there's no reason for what he does, the reason like he does the things that he does. All these killers have motives.
Evil exists.
Evil exists just for the sake of pure evil. And, just everything. Death has come to your little town, Sheriff.
Because we were home.
Because we're home. Yeah, and just, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. He just, I love all of these monologues from Donald Pleasance. You have the Scream Queen, Jamie Lee Curtis, playing Laurie Strode. And just Michael Myers is my absolute favorite killer of all time. I love the way this movie's shot. I love Jamie Lee Curtis looking out the window of her school and just seeing Michael Myers staring at her outside the window. The movie just gives me chills. Like, I watch it, that's 78, so I watch it 43 years later, and it still terrifies me every time, even though I know what's coming. So my favorite movie of all time in the horror genre, John Carpenter, Halloween, 1978.
It does not feel that old at all.
Almost 50 years old.
It doesn't feel like that at all.
And yes, I'm looking very much forward to Halloween Kills.
I think we all are.
Interesting list.
If you think that's an interesting list.
Do you want to play a game?
Did you just drop an M Night? What's that twist?
I'm gonna twist. I'm gonna start with my number 3. It's probably gonna be a shocker to all of you, but for some reason, since I was a kid, it's a movie I've watched over and over again, and I don't know. I really love it. It's my favorite vampire movie of all time, Lost Boys.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it is about that movie. I love it. Like, Kiefer Sutherland is perfect in that movie. He kills it. Like, when he's just sitting there eating the worms, and it's just noodles, Michael. I love how cool he is in that movie, and how cool and collect. And then Alex Winters, it's like one of the only other movies I know that he's in. Ted from Bill and Ted.
Yep.
No, sorry, he's Bill, right? No, he's Ted. I don't know.
I always confuse which one which.
No,
Bill and
I
Ted.
was right the first time.
I don't know.
He's Bill. He's Bill because
Bill and Ted is
Ted's
a
dad calls him
superposition
Theodore.
of awesome.
Right.
But anyway, he's Bill. He's one of the other vampires that Michael's hanging out with in those parts. I don't know. I just love that movie. I can't help it. From the moment People Are Strange plays at the beginning to the very end, I love that. I don't know. I love that movie, but
it was
can't explain why.
It was definitely going to be in my first topic, but we ran out of time. I also love that movie. Favorite vampire movie of all time.
I wasn't expecting. Did say prepare for a weird list. Okay.
And something tells me Corey Feldman's going to be huge. that kid's really going to do
Corey
something.
Haim's probably going to be bigger.
Oh, come on. Rest in peace, Corey Haim.
Right.
I didn't even know that.
Well, that sounded like I said right to that. I did that.
Right.
Yeah, that is not what that right was referring to. I was just getting ready to move on.
Is this the dole of? Is this the war that all Corys are at?
Number 2 is actually surprisingly enough that Adrian would mention the original Halloween, because my number 2 is the 2018 real true sequel to the original Halloween.
Wow. You like 2018 more than the original.
Just the fact that they went back and did all the familiar delicious tropes, from the very opening where the music is exactly the same, the gritty original, the pumpkin coming back.
They
from
brought the
rot,
pumpkin back.
The orange letters, the gritty like Blumhouse. I love Blumhouse. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Blumhouse.
Absolutely.
It's set 40 years after the original, and Michael's just. I love that.
James Jude Courtney.
Well, James Jude Courtney is the masked version, but Nick Castle actually plays the old man, and he's the original shape. He plays the old man standing at the psychiatric hospital, and I love that.
Nick Castle was also in The Mask for the scene where Jamie Lee Curtis shoots at the mirror.
Okay, I didn't know that.
They had him in The Mask one time.
That's pretty cool.
I love it.
Good fun fact, by the way.
And how they reversed everything on its head. Like when Allison looks out the school window, it's Jamie Lee Curtis looking at her instead of Michael Myers.
I love that.
And then like Michael Myers knocks her off the roof and like he looks back and she's gone.
Yeah.
Like how he was in the first one.
I love that she's not afraid of him in that movie. She's like chasing him, basically, trying to kill him.
I do love that. Like they made the hunter the hunted.
Yes.
By the end of that movie, Michael Myers is looking for her in the house.
They made her actual paranoia work for her in that movie. 40 years of being paranoid, and she actually was prepared for him to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's justifiable paranoia.
The one specific shot that actually brings that to being my favorite over the original is when he first gets to Haddonfield, they do a one-shot following him through the town where he's just killing people in their homes. And he does this one where he walks up on the porch and he looks in the front window and his reflection of his face is on the window. Then he gets up and walks away, but the camera stays there. And he walks down the driveway and his shadow's on the wall. And he's just walking as she's walking towards the window to look out of it. And then he comes up behind her in the house and just kills her. It's fucking beautiful.
Oh.
And then there's more, of course. He like walks by the baby's crib and you're supposed to think, no, Michael, don't do that. Oh my God. But he just kind of looks down and then walks away and walks out the front door.
Because Michael Myers does kill a kid in this movie.
He does.
Really?
It was quite the risk they took. Because
he killed a kid.
He was very young.
So when you walk by this baby, you're like, no, are they going to do that?
Yeah, the kid, I'd say in the movie, the kid was probably 12 or so that he kills. And he strangles him. He doesn't like just kill him real quick. He chokes him to death.
All just because he needs the vehicle.
Yep.
So he kills the kid.
And so I don't know.
And that one shot is beautiful.
It's beautiful. And it's the reason that movie is a little bit over the original for me, even though the original did stuff like that. The technology we have now and the more crisp follower around, I don't know. I can't.
There were some creative choices I liked about the movie. Like they didn't show every kill. Like the first shot in the one kill, you see him grab like the hammer.
Yes.
And you just hear him bludgeoning the lady, but you
at
don't
her
see
table
it until after he walks
past. I think
past.
that's something that series in general has just always been good at, is they don't need to like show you every last scene.
Well, that's where they veered off eventually, as they started showing too much in those movies. Yeah. Because they thought the gore is what we all wanted to see. Then when they made that sequel in 2018, they went back to the basics, and that's what everybody loved about Michael Myers was the basics.
100%.
Plus, they got rid of the stupid fucking storyline that Laurie was his sister.
Yeah, they abandoned that.
I was very happy they got rid of that.
Me too, because evil just exists.
It just
He's
exists.
not there trying to kill the rest of his family.
Exactly.
There's no goddamn Thorn trilogy. Nobody's possessing him.
It's simple and clean.
Oh, God.
The Thorn trilogy. We won't talk about that.
No. And my number one, they've already shed on it for an hour and a half.
We're not allowed to in this at this point. So.
The entire Saw series is, I'm obsessed. I've gone to see every single one in theaters except Spiral, of course. I wasn't able to go see that, but I did buy it and watch it, and I do enjoy it. I did like it a lot. Chris Rock, actually, you can tell he's a fan the way he made this movie. He's a very clear Saw fan, and he just wanted to take this under his own wing and make it his own movies, and I hope there's many more to come.
Wait, did he direct it?
He has the rights, and he directed it, wrote it, and he's in it. He fucking loves these movies.
How did he get the rights?
I don't know, and just the psychological part of John Kramer, the reason he kills people, it's people who don't appreciate their lives, people who take everything for granted. He's in his own mind the hero of these movies, and that's in where I love him. Is he's not just killing because there's some need for him to kill or some reason that he was wronged when he was a kid. He literally just wants people to respect their lives so much that he's willing to test them to see if they do respect their lives. And after he dies in the third movie, he still finds a way to keep being Jigsaw for multiple movies and many years later through these people that he employed through the years, which, by the way, I was 100% a Gordonite in the original Saw. I knew the doctor was still alive. I argued with many friends of mine that none of that stuff would have happened. None of the stuff sewn in their skin or behind their eyeballs could have been done by John Kramer, who was just an engineer, not a surgeon. But guess who was a surgeon?
The surgeon.
Yeah, Dr. Gordon. I knew he was alive. I was so glad when they revealed him. I don't know. I'm going to rewatch these movies after we're done with this. I get so excited watching it, or I get so excited talking about it. And like I said before, I like the uncomfortable horror gore, and his traps are just genius.
The traps are pretty genius.
And now there are, I could literally do a top 20 list of my favorite traps and talk about them for an hour, but that's going to give my favorite killer to John Kramer.
Favorite killer?
John Kramer is my favorite killer.
John Kramer.
And it's because he has more of he thinks he's the hero, and something about that makes me not respect the guy, but like see through his eyes. Oh, he really thinks he's doing the right thing.
Well, yeah, you can make a case like the best bad guys think in a way they're the good guy.
Yeah.
Like you have Thanos who thinks he's doing a good thing, or you have Anakin.
Theory,
in my eyes, the Jedi are evil.
Oh God, that's not the same.
This isn't the Upper Ground podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
That's next week.
And in theory, what Thanos did and what John Kramer did, in theory, is correct. Thanos is trying to get rid of half the population to help the other half.
Right.
It's genocide, but he is doing it for a real reason. And John Kramer actually is just in a sick, twisted way, which, by the way, these movies are made by Twisted Pictures. So, but in a sick, twisted way, he literally is trying to help people, and that's the fucked up part about John Kramer.
Right. So, as Mike would say real quick, since Mike can't be here, he would rehash that. Did you know Chester Bennington's in Saw 3?
He is. He's the one who gets his back ripped out in the car.
Right.
He one time spoke to Ryan Reynolds and Allison Hannigan at a pizza shop. Two guys and a girl.
Ryan Reynolds, Green Bay Packers, Brett Favre. All right, can we move on?
It might be unfair to ask you real quick, though. But
just kidding.
It might be unfair to ask you if you haven't prepared for this. But what's your favorite Saw movie?
My favorite Saw movie of all of them?
Yeah. Do you have one that stands out? Because this is our favorite movie. I mean,
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
If you don't have an answer,
honestly, to be completely honest with you, I think the second one might be my favorite, where they're all stuck in the house.
Is that the one with the needles?
That's the one with the needles.
The needles.
And it because I don't know, he has so many very clever lines in that, like, your son is in a safe place, and it ends up that his kid's right in front of him in a safe.
Oh yes.
If he just would have been patient, that safe would have opened when the clock stopped ticking.
Yep.
He's testing that motherfucker's patience.
Yep.
and it's brilliant.
Oh yes, there will be blood.
And I don't know, it's hard to explain, but just the one douchebag in that movie with the big arm tattoo guy, I don't remember his name at this moment, but like he just turns on everybody trying to survive, and I love that he's the one that ends up getting fucked in the end because he doesn't see another twist that girl who had the head thing on in the first one
Yep.
actually is helping Jigsaw.
Right.
The great twist about the second one, and I literally get chills talking about these movies, I just did, but the twist in this one is like when the cop finally loses his patience and makes Jigsaw take him to the house, you find out it was days ago and he's been watching recorded footage the whole fucking time. He thinks he's watching his son play this game, but it was actually 2 days ago and his son's fine.
Yep.
He wasn't going to kill his kid because his kid didn't do anything wrong. And if he just would have been patient, he'd have been fine.
The first two are the two that I can say I semi-enjoyed. I watched 3, and then when I was like halfway through 4, I'm like, nope.
The first 2 or 3 are the ones that most people can get through.
Right.
And then for me, who was so deep in it by then, I just enjoyed them because of I'm sick. I'm just I like twisted shit.
Right.
I'm a sick and twisted individual, as a guy I think we might all know used to say.
That we went to camp with.
Rick. Anyway, I guess that's my turn. Okay. Your second one surprised me. Actually, your first two both surprised me. Wasn't saying I knew Saw was going to be numero uno. I knew Halloween was going to be numero uno for you.
It's the greatest horror movie ever made.
It's pretty good. But
it's the best.
My list is a little different. As I've stated, I'm kind of a sucker for a classic.
Like Halloween.
You might see that. It almost made the top 3. It almost made the top. But unfortunately, it lost the number 3 spot to The Exorcist.
Hey!
I don't know what it was. When I watched that movie, it was just so different from like the Jasons and the Freddys and.
Well, that's certainly true.
Exactly. But I didn't know like that kind of horror movie existed when I first saw that. When I first saw The Exorcist, it was just totally changed. And it wasn't that it was like horrifying. It was just, I was just glued. Like I was so interested in like what was going on and like the story like that they were trying to present, and just it was just a wild ride. And like obviously, like looking back, it just looks almost laughably unrealistic at this point compared to what you can see today. But like at that time, like that was crazy effects, like the head turning around, despite the crab walk, as we joked about it. Like that was all crazy shit. Like we kind of touched on it earlier when you were making fun of it, but at the same time touching on, you did respect what it did. So there's not really too much I need to say about it. Now, number two and 1, it was so hard for me to like put them. So number 2 is The Shining. I fucking love The Shining so much. It is my favorite fucking Stephen King movie, hands down. No comparison. It's not even close. Like it is. I could just what was it? Shelley Duvall had to do that one scene 127 times, I believe, which is why she never would work with any of those people ever again. And it wasn't cool because it really fucked with her. But like they drove these people fucking crazy.
She actually had to go through a lot of therapy after that.
Yeah, like they fucked these people up in this hotel set to like get these shots, so it's like believable. And Jack Nicholson scared the fuck out of me.
Just a disclaimer, all 3 of us love The Shining. It wasn't brought up earlier because I knew it would be in your top 3.
Yeah, I didn't even want to like say mine. That's why I was shocked when The Exorcist came up in top 2. I was like, shit, I thought I was going to get away with this. Okay.
Plus, Jack Torrance is Jack Nicholson's second best character he ever played.
Oh,
oh God, here we go.
Oh, wait, what's his first?
The Joker.
I knew he was going to say that. Oh, you mean Buddy in Anger Management?
Yeah, exactly.
With Adam Sandler?
Oh, God.
You made it to level 2.
Make that joke. Okay. Anyway, so his best role ever in The Shining, when Jack Nicholson just peaked. Not peaked, because that implies he was bad or something after it.
Whoa.
When he hit his stride, his prime, and just showed that he was one of the greatest out there. The Here's Johnny moment is one of the most iconic scenes in movies, period. In my opinion, I'd struggle to like pick something that more people would just know, like randomly on the street. Everybody's heard that line, knows that line.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's not a person out there. Even if you've never seen The Shining, you know that at least the
you
face
know it. Yeah,
coming through the door.
you know his fucking smile, like
Yeah.
the way he does that smile is terrifying. But like when he's seeing, like, fuck, I don't even know if he was seeing shit. If there were ghosts, was it cabin fever? I don't fucking know, because there was some shine going on and all this other stuff. So it's hard to say, even, which I think is the beauty of it.
Just a quick side note.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Dr. Sleep with Ewan McGregor. So
I haven't got to watch that yet.
I enjoyed it. The
That's
book's
good to
better,
know.
but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Was that like a true sequel to The
Yeah.
Shining?
It's Danny. Is it Danny?
Yeah, Danny.
It's Danny when he's older and he's a doctor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he
It's-
starts getting visions of the hotel and he has to go back to.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain without watching it. The book's really good though.
The way that they just presented him in sitting in front of that typewriter trying to write, and then when you finally see the paper and it's just all work and no play makes Jack no boy over and over, it's like, oh fuck, this guy's insane. It's like, oh shit. I got goosebumps just thinking about this movie. I fucking love this movie. It's one of my
That movie
favorite
makes me
all
so
time.
happy that Ready Player One, when one of their things that they had to do in that movie was go into The Shining, I love that whole scene.
Ready Player One actually made me shed a tear. Like,
Dude, Ready Player One's one of my favorite new movies.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's great.
But I will definitely bring up that movie someday.
Again, the book's great.
Yeah, but my top one, you probably can guess, and maybe it seems cliche, but I don't care. I love it. The original Psycho. I just fucking love the simplicity. It's kind of like the thing about Halloween, how it's like the simple stuff is what makes Halloween so good to me. That's why Psycho is just so great. Like, obviously, it's everybody knows the twist, and
Yeah, it's got a great twist in that movie too.
The original mommy issues.
it was
Oh,
like
God.
the original
Yeah.
twist. Like,
Yeah,
I know it wasn't the original horror movie, but it might as well be the original like modern horror movie, if you
Yeah.
want to put it that
it
way.
is called the first true horror movie though,
Yeah, exactly.
because it was the first one that went outside of the monsters region of horror.
It defined what
What a human's capable of in a movie.
exactly the true monster.
The real monster.
Like there were always the vampire movies, the Mummy, the Wolfman,
Yes.
but then we saw just another person doing it, and that changed everything. And it was done with such simple stuff. There was nothing.
Yeah, the movie was very simple.
Hitchcock. I'm a sucker for Hitchcock, so it's not like I said, I'm a sucker for a classic. So there's really nothing else I could put on as my number one spot. I think it's such a well-known movie. I don't really need to go into detail. It's iconic, and it's my favorite. I got to share my favorite killer real quick.
Oh, yeah,
it's,
good.
It's Michael Myers. But
Mike, see, I juggled back and forth between Jigsaw and Michael Myers.
I was probably
'Cause-
good thing you said Jigsaw then.
Yeah,
I mean, not that I'd have a problem having a unanimous.
but trust me, he's a very close second. All my killers don't have to have like a thinking man's reason.
Right.
I'm perfectly fine with the way Michael Myers is just, it's so fucked up that he became such an iconic killer, and it's just a William Shatner mask with the eyes cut out.
it's beautiful,
It's
isn't it?
it's so good.
A dude in a pure evil and a William Shatner mask.
He was just Star Trek cosplaying.
I just want to tell you, and I guess this can relate
Yeah.
to Halloween too. I didn't know this. The Marion Crane, the character from Psycho,
Mm-hmm.
her boyfriend that she's on the run from, his name, Sam Loomis.
Oh, shit.
That has to be
Wow.
where Halloween got their inspiration.
Oh,
for
that
Sam
absolutely-
Loomis.
that has to be.
That's pretty
inspiration.
badass.
Yeah, that has to be.
You'd be surprised in the horror genre if you look back in the history of a lot of character names and city names and graveyard names. They get it from old horror movies and classics.
Every town has an Elm Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
And-
tell you where it is where we grew up.
And in line with your Psycho, I just want to say I'm surprised that we never brought up American Psycho.
I
love that fucking movie.
love that movie so
It's
much.
Patrick Bateman.
I don't even see it as like a horror or a psychological.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
I see it as-
comedy horror. Like
it kind of transcends that to me. Like,
I have to return some videotapes.
I have to return some videotapes to the video store. Yeah. Like, when I saw that movie, I was totally blown away by fucking Christian Bale. I had no idea he had that in him.
It made me think he might legitimately be a serial killer.
It was that movie like changed my outlook on some things in life, period. It was just like, so I can't even describe it.
I just wanted to get it in last minute because I know I love it and I know Doug loves it. I thought Corey loved it. So.
Oh yeah.
Describing a fucking business card could never be so menacing, you know. But yeah.
Also, I watched Without a Paddle the other day.
Talk about a horror movie.
Game of Thrones.
Who was in that again?
Game of Thrones.
I think it was Seth Meyers.
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard and Seth Meyers in Without a Paddle.
You hit me with a phone, dick.
Jesus, this episode's gonna be long as shit.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to cut, like this. Exactly part of this. But anyway, I think that's gonna do it.
Thank you for listening to our Halloween spooktacular.
Oh, God.
Please cut that.
That brings us to the end of the show. Let me try that again.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this, make sure to check out my videos at Baker Reviews on YouTube.
I think 7 plugs might be too many.
Baker Reviews on YouTube.
8.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Thanks for sharing your time with us again this week. If you're new here, why not consider subscribing and join us next time. From all of us at Culture Shock, thanks for listening.